Tony moved in with us after he got out of PRC. Kenny had been gone for a while by that point, but my mom was still technically married to him because she never bothered to get a divorce because she's fucking lazy. So she was still married to this white dude while Tony was living with us. I think that bothered Tony, and they used to fight all the time, more than they ever did back when we lived in Germantown. And they fought a lot there, too. They would argue and yell and fight and make up, fight and make up. Tony used to tear her apart, but only verbally. He never hit her except once. And it happened totally by accident, the time he was breaking into the apartment to hold us hostage. The night it happened, she'd kicked him out after another huge fight. I'm pretty sure it was about drugs. There were times when they were sober, but that never lasted long. And at this point, he was back on the drug shit, and my mom was on her sobriety shit, and she didn't want to deal with him being fucked up, so she told him to leave. Which is what happens anytime you get two addicts together. It works as long as they're on the same page. If they both want to get sober, they can take each other to meetings and it's cool. If they both want to go on a bender, it's not healthy, but there's no friction about it. But when one of them wants to get sober, while the other one wants to party, then it gets nasty. Each one is blaming the other for doing this or not doing that, and whose fault is what, and it's you fucking asshole and you fucking bitch, and on and on and on and on. So that's what my mom did to Tony. I don't want you around my kid when you're drinking! Which made sense, except that it was hypocritical because she'd been getting shit-faced with him the week before, and she'd probably be getting shit-faced with him again the week after. But at that exact moment, she was high on her self-righteous, I'm getting sober, I'm giving myself to Jesus kick, and Tony wouldn't stop drinking, so Tony had to go. But Tony wanted to stay. Tony wanted it to work. So it was pitch black outside, and my mom and I were in the living room watching Sanford & Son, and all of a sudden we turned and we saw Tony pulling himself onto our balcony. We were apartment 203, but the way the apartment numbers worked, we were actually 3 floors up from the ground. This fucker, stone drunk out of his mind, had climbed 3 stories of concrete balconies to get in. Because that's who Tony is, fucking super jacked and fearless. He pulled himself over the railing, and he started banging on the sliding glass doors and screaming my mom's name. Terry Lee! Terry Lee! Then he reached down and grabbed the handle of the sliding glass door and yanked it open like he was ripping a phone book in half. This door had one of those bullshit aluminum deterrent sticks that you put down and it keeps the door from opening from the outside. That shit crumpled like a Red Bull can. My mom jumped up and tried to push the door closed, yelling, Tony, no! So Tony was trying to push one arm through the door and she was leaning in trying to close it, and he jerked his arm back and he elbowed her in the face and busted her lip open and she started screaming and there was blood everywhere. I was scared, but I knew it was an accident because I knew Tony wouldn't hurt a fly. Or Tony wouldn't hurt a woman or a child, let's put it that way. He forced his way in and my mom, blood running down her face, stumbled over to the front door to try to get out, and he ran behind her and caught her just as she opened the door, and he pushed her out of the way and he slammed it shut and locked it, trapping us inside. So technically he took us hostage, but when I say hostage, I don't mean he held a gun to our heads. He just blocked the door and didn't let us leave for a few hours, which is legitimate being held against your will kind of shit that 100% meets the legal definition of kidnapping. But to me, it wasn't really kidnapping because I knew Tony was such a good guy. It was more of a nobody's fucking leaving until we fucking work this shit out kind of thing.